Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Headbangers Closet. It's your buddy Brett here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hope all you having a nice weekend so far. It is Saturday, February 5th, 2022. And I don't know about you guys, but it kind of feels like concert season is about to ramp up to me. Last Saturday, I went to my first concert of 2022 at the New Masquerade in Atlanta, Georgia. It was the Decibel Magazine tour featuring Enforced, Municipal Waste, and Obituary. I basically just went for Enforced and Municipal Waste. I had to go home after that, but great performance. Really like both of those bands. Enforced is a band that was featured on my top albums of 2021 list. Their album Kill Grid came out in March 2021. Just phenomenal record. Just heavy thrash. You know, they call it crossover, but it's like that thrash. You know, that new thrash sound that, you know, like a power trip type of band. Really good. Really enjoyed watching them. Got a really great merch haul from them as well. T-shirt, flexi, vinyl, patch, signed set list. So go find me on Instagram, Headbangers Closet. I posted a photo of that merch haul along with a handful of shows of the band performing. And Municipal Waste was a band I've been into for a long time, but I've never been able to see him. And my buddy Wes, who I went to the show with, kept telling me, man, you're in for something, dude. These guys are awesome, and they put on a hell of a show. Things get crazy. Well, he wasn't wrong. When they go on, the pit gets crazy. It's such a huge circle pit going on. The entire floor of the venue, everybody who's not involved kind of gets pushed to the sides, to the front and the back, and then there's like a mosh pit in the middle of the circle pit. So you go into the circle pit, you go around, and you kind of make way to the mosh pit, mosh around for a while, then get back in the circle pit, run around, kind of catch your breath, and then just go back and watch the rest of the show. But great performance, really enjoyed that. If you know Municipal Waste, they're just a fun, heavy, fast thrash band. You're just all about partying and having a damn good time. So it's just cool checking them out, and they did not disappoint. So, but, you know, we saw a lot of shows in 2021. I talked about them before in other episodes. A lot of bigger bands were playing. Saw Metallica a bunch of times. But a lot of the bands that, you know, we all know and love, they're not that huge. They can't afford to be like Kiss and then have to postpone 6 or 7 shows throughout a tour and make them up later. So they would just kept postponing the tours in general, and that's what a band like Testament did. They were supposed to come to town on 2 different times with 2 different sets of opening acts or support acts, and now finally they're coming here in a few months, in April rather, with it's going to be Testament, Exodus, and Death Angel at the Bay Area Strikes Back tour, which is really, you know, should be really cool. Looking forward to finally being able to go to that. I still have my ticket behind me for the very first tour, which was 2 postponements ago. But what was really cool yesterday, Friday the 4th of February, I noticed on Twitter and Instagram, a lot of bands are announcing shows. They're announcing tours. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of festivals being announced. Full Terror Assault, I think I saw announced yesterday. There was a handful of other ones, like 4 or 5 different other festivals in the U.S. only, with a handful of other bands, maybe like 8 or 9 bands announcing tours for this coming spring of 2022 throughout the summer of 2022, and then a lot of them also were going into the fall of 2022. So it's going to be a big year for shows. Hopefully, crossing our fingers, these things can still go on. And which brings me to the topic of today's episode, 3.5 minutes in. It is 80's hair bands. Huge 80's hair band concert going on this summer. Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, and Pat Benatar. Should have been last summer, but got postponed. It's going to be this summer. It's coming, I believe, in August to here in Atlanta, so I'm really looking forward to that. So this episode, I have picked my 4 favorite debut records from 80's hair bands. Now, if you've been watching my show for a while, I did my top 10 favorite 80's hair bands from 10 to 1. Maybe like 10 or so episodes ago, 9 episodes ago. Go down and find the link below and go check it out. We all know, if you've been watching this channel for long enough, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put a link to that video below, and then I'm going to forget that shit when I go to upload this video. So go scroll down. It's my 10 favorite 80's hair bands. But these are my favorite 4 debuts. So I'm going to rank the best debut of these 80's hair bands, and, you know, see which one's the best. I'm not going to rank it as what's the better band. I'm not going to rank it at what's the better overall discography of that band. I'm going to say which is just the best record. Like, as a standalone album, which is the best. Songs, song production, musicianship, that way I'm going to rank it, and I'll see which one's the best. I love all 4 of these albums. All 4 of them have a special place in my heart. I still listen to all 4 of these albums on the regular. So I'm going to show you guys these records in no particular order, and then I'm going to rank them, you know, number 1 to 4 or 4 to 1, however I feel like doing it on the fly. You guys tell me in comments below which one you think is the best record. Again, not best band or body of work, best standalone record. So if these albums came out and none of these bands ever made anything else, which one's the best one? So no particular order. I'm just going to show you guys these records right now. First one up, we've got Cinderella's debut, Night Songs. Came out June 9th, 1986. And well, as I was going through these records, and I like to tell you guys when they came out too, kind of going through I knew for the year mostly, but you know, the month and the day. I kind of went through a lot of these and then started thinking about thrash records too. And man, 1986 was the year, dude. If I get a damn time machine, I'm going back to like December 30th, 31st, 1985 and reliving 86 all over again. That's my year right there. So anyway, Cinderella's Night Songs, great record. I believe John Bon Jovi had a hand in producing this, and I know he was in a handful of videos, which on this record there was a bunch of MTV videos. First 3 songs on the record, Night Songs, Shake Me, and Nobody's Fool, all were on heavy rotation and on MTV. Then you had Nothing for Nothing, Once Around the Ride. Flip it over to side 2, you get Hell on Wheels, Somebody Save Me, another MTV video song. In From the Outside, Push Push, and Back Home Again. There's the guys in the band, rest in peace, Jeff LaBar. As I mentioned on my top 10 hair band episode, to which all 4 of these bands are on that episode, Cinderella to me was more of like a heavy, hard rock, bluesy band that didn't really sound very much like a hair band. And I hate using that phrase because I kind of have my own phrase for a lot of these bands, but I'll save that phrase hair band or glam band for bands like Warrant, Slaughter, Dawkins, bands like that that are kind of on that second tier in my opinion. Love Warrant and Dawkins. They were both featured in my top 10 hair band episode, but Cinderella, yeah, take a look at them. Yeah, they look like a hair band, but to me musically they didn't really sound like your typical hair band. So I don't have any kind of liner notes on this particular one. I bought this one not too long ago. There it is on Mercury Records. I had all these on cassette tape growing up. I only had maybe 15 or 20 actual records. Most of all my favorite records were all on cassette tape back in those days. And then when I got to high school, I started trying to convert everything to CD. Kept the records in the basement, but over time I started getting rid of the cassette tapes. I kind of wish I hadn't done that. But first one we're going to talk about today, Cinderella's Night Songs, great record. And the next one is Motley Crue's debut, Too Fast for Love. Came out November 10th, 1981. Motley Crue is just one of those bands, much like Poison and maybe a couple of other bands, that they were all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And while, yes, they're considered a glam or hair band, to me, especially this album and the one that came after it, Shout at the Devil, it's kind of sleaze heavy metal for me. Sleaze metal is what I called it. But, you know, great record. You had Live Wire, which I believe was the only video on MTV from this album. It kind of came out right around that birth year for MTV of 81. Yeah, Come On and Dance, Public Enemy #1, Merry Go Round and Round, Take Me to the Top. Side 2, you got Piece of Your Action, Starry Eyes, Too Fast for Love, and On with the Show. And then you got Black Widow and, oh gosh, Toast of the Town, which were those are the 2 songs that didn't make this version, which they came out on a later version. I don't know what year it was, but those are great tunes, especially Toast of the Town. I really wish it would have been on the original. But this one is great. It's on Elektra Records. It's an original U.S. pressing, which I'm quite proud of. Lyrics to the tunes. That L.A. Sunset Strip Club scene photo of the guys. Really cool. And then just the album on Elektra Records right there. That's pretty cool. Gotta say, if you want to scroll through some of my videos, Motley Crue was the band that started it all for me. The album was Shout at the Devil. I did an origin story video quite a while ago, so if you scroll through all my videos, which you can, just click on the videos button and it'll show you all of them I've ever done on this channel, which I think there's quite a few now, but you can find it. Shout at the Devil, my origin story, which is how I got into heavy metal. So check it out. Kind of fun. The next one is Skid Row's debut record, just self-titled Skid Row. Came out January 24th, 1989. Again, great record. A lot of MTV hits on this one. You had Big Guns, Sweet Little Sister, Can't Stand the Heartache. Piece of Me was an MTV video. 18 in Life was a big MTV video. I remember with that show Dial MTV. This was like #1 for like a super long time. Rattlesnake Shake was a great tune. Flip It Over, you got Youth Gone Wild, which I believe was the first video from this album on MTV. Here I Am, I think had a video. I feel like a chainmail mesh shirt. I can't remember if that was Here I Am or Piece of Me. I don't remember. But anyway, leave me a comment below. Let me know which one it was. Make It a Mess, I Remember You, which was the ballad that every hair band had. And that was a big video on MTV as well. And then the last song is Midnight Tornado. Great tune. Came out 89, which was, it was the beginning of 89, January 24th, 89. So it was kind of that last real big year for 80s metal. But you flip it over, yeah, they got the hair. And one of the dudes, I think Sabo, the guitar player, had that like ring from his nose to his ear, which was weird as shit. But they look, they look more like Bon Jovi than they did like some of the other hair bands like Poison and Warrant. Maybe a little bit later, Motley Crue, when Motley Crue had the Girls, Girls, Girls record, they were on their leather and denim more so than the makeup and like chains and whatever the hell they wear on Shout at the Devil and all those spandex from the Theater of Pain record. But this was that late 80s look, more with the denim and the leather. But great record. Love this thing. Just hit the camera there. And then the last one we're going to talk about today is Poison's debut record, Look What the Cat Dragged In. Came out May 23rd, 1986. Again, another one of those 86 album releases. This one, out of all the bands, these were the dudes that most tried to and succeeded in looking like chicks. And I know it's like, these photos are like, you watch the video, they don't look that much like chicks on the video, except for maybe Cece. But swear to God, had the cassette tape, thought they were all girls for like a little bit, just a little bit. Really had a big crush on Ricky Rocket. I mean, dude, how can you not? It looks like an 80s porn star right there. It's like Ginger Lynn. I mean, come on. As an 11-year-old kid when this thing came out, how could I not think it was hot, right? Anyway. This one come out on Capitol Records. There it is right there. And pretty cool, like fold out, lyrics and pictures of the guys in the band, each guy in the band with all the lyrics. Pretty cool. Again, heavy MTV airplay from this thing in 1986. Yeah, Cry Tough had a video. I Want Action had a video. I Won't Forget You had a video. Then you had Play Dirty, and the title track, Look What the Cat Dragged In. Flip it over to side 2, you got, I believe, the second video from the record was Talk Dirty to Me. Then you got Want Some, Need Some, Blame It On You, #1 Bad Boy, and Let Me Go to the Show. So again, a phenomenal record. All these records were so good. These bands are putting out debut albums, and bands like Motley Crue, Skid Row, and Poison, they were, kind of cutting their teeth on their local club scenes. Poison came from Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. They went over to L.A. They were playing the Sunset Strip. Motley Crue playing a bunch of shows on the Sunset Strip, kind of cutting their teeth and getting their chops before they actually recorded the album. Cinderella's from Philadelphia, and I don't really know what their story was prior to that first album coming out. But all these albums sound really, really good. There's a lot of great tunes on them. And I think Cinderella, the second album, is probably it's a great record, second album, but in terms of these four, they have the kind of the worst of the second album. But all these albums are really, really great. Tough to kind of pick a best one. If you watched my top 10 hair bands, #1 was Poison. But I would say, if we're going to rank these, best debut overall, best sounding, best song quality and everything, best writing, I'm going to have to say Motley Crue's Too Fast for Love at #4. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but I'm going off that criteria, and you can kind of tell it's a first record. But again, it's the oldest one. Didn't have all the technology, I guess. Or not guess, but that's kind of fact. Then I'm going with Cinderella's Night Songs. Again, all these albums are phenomenal. There's really, really good. There's one thing you can say about those bands in the 80s. Like, their debut records were so good. I mean, look at Guns N' Roses, for Christ's sake. That debut record, Appetite for Destruction, is just phenomenal. You kind of see albums that good these days being like the second and third records from a band. Back then, man, they were coming out of the gate swinging. And then I'm going to go with number 2, Poison. It just sounds really good. It's very well produced. CC DeVille's guitar tone is really good, really kind of heavy. Again, out of the hair bands, these guys were my number one favorite hair band. Again, Motley Crue's probably my second, third favorite band of all time. But I don't really consider them a hair band. That's kind of why Poison won, a little bit of a technicality there. But I would have to say Poison. They were a little bit heavier in my opinion, even though they were still about the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They were a little bit heavier than bands like Warrant and Slaughter and kind of those bands. But number 1 on this album ranking, I'm going to go with Skid Row. Yes, it's the most recent album. Came out 89, so there was probably a little better production. Record companies were throwing more money at hair bands to make records because it was selling. It sounds great. The production's awesome. But I'm going to go with these guys from the musicianship standpoint. Really, other than Cinderella, it's the only one in this ranking that has the 2-guitar attack. And that really makes a difference in my opinion. They would have the riff going on, and one of the guys would be kind of doing a guitar solo or something like that. Sebastian Bach, I mean, come on, probably the best vocalist out of all the 80s hair bands. I mean, the guy was just so good, so talented. Just a great band overall. I really feel that that's the best record, standalone record. I mean, every song on it's just great, perfectly produced. Yeah, I mean, wait, can you go wrong with Skid Row's debut record? So that's my ranking. Do you guys disagree? Leave me a comment below. Let me know what your ranking is. Which one should have been the best one out of these 4. Hit that like and subscribe if you don't mind. Go find me on Instagram, Headbangers Closet. I post pictures of all my stuff in my collection, new things I'm just getting in, as well as merch and photos I take at shows and stuff. So yeah, go find me on that. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll have another video for you guys very soon. Cheers.